A very good evening to all our viewers and welcome to tonight's edition of Primetime News, coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati. Let's take a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
News First Headlines. Main sponsor.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
KDK, the leader in indoor air quality. KDK, the reliable fan.
Fire breaks out at a factory in Hangwalla. Fire brigades from Kotte and Colombo dispatched. Government launches massive rural development program. Government ready for elections. Rallies to begin on Sunday, says Basil. State Minister Arundhika quits. Son arrested over assault on medical students. Protests by fishermen in the north angers Fisheries Minister. CEB Engineers Union hints of possible power cuts. Public Utilities Commission warns against it. Minister Johnston seeks probe into hidden force behind power crisis. Sri Lanka to celebrate 74th Independence Day tomorrow. Cardinal to boycott Independence Day celebrations.
Now the story is in detail, and we start off with a story that we received a short while ago. President Joe Biden has announced that the leader of ISIS has been killed in a US raid in Syria.
The Pentagon had said U.S. Special Operations Forces carried out a successful counterterrorism mission in northwest Syria yesterday. Today, U.S. President Joe Biden said in a statement they had taken off the battlefield Abu Ibrahim al-Hashimi al-Qurayshi, the leader of ISIS. The White House tweeted a photo showing Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris in the Situation Room watching as the raid took place. In a statement, John Kirby, the Pentagon press secretary, said there were no U.S. casualties in the operation. Footage showed the aftermath of the raid, with the top floor of the house being almost totally destroyed in the raid, with the ceiling and walls knocked out. First responders reported that 13 people had been killed, including 6 children and 4 women.
The CEB Engineers Union says power cuts may have to be imposed between 5:30 and 9:30 p.m. today, as certain power plants have run out of fuel. But the Public Utilities Commission says that no approval has been granted to the CEB for scheduled power cuts.
The Ceylon Electricity Board Engineers Union said that the Kalanithisa power plant that can generate 285 megawatts of power has run out of fuel. The barge-mounted power plant at the Colombo port that can generate 60 megawatts and the Mathugama power plant that can generate 16 megawatts are also inactive. The Engineers Union said that power cuts may have to be imposed between 5:30 and 9:30 p.m. today, as there is insufficient power supply to meet the demand. But the Public Utilities Commission says that no approval has been granted to the CEB for scheduled power cuts, and that it will take legal action if power cuts are imposed. Is there a fuel crisis in the country? Finance Minister Basil Rajapaksa responded to questions of whether there is a fuel crisis during a media briefing in Colombo yesterday.
I don't know about that. I call Minister Gamin Lokuge daily and ask him whether there is a need for fuel. There is no such need at present. Power plants can run on naphtha, furnace oil, diesel or even LNG. They always choose the cheapest and the best option. The President has ordered us to provide the required fuel and to provide us the money required for that. The fuel suppliers have agreed to supply fuel, while we have agreed to provide money.
The Ministry of Energy told Newsfirst that fuel is being supplied to the CEB as agreed during a meeting with the President. The ministry noted that power plants had run out of fuel as they had used more than the requirement calculated initially. In one instance, the West Coast power plant had run out of fuel in 8 days, although it had been given fuel for 11 days. The Kalnitesa power plant, that is inactive, had been given fuel that was supposed to last until tomorrow. The Energy Ministry said that more fuel cannot be provided to Kalnitesa until an oil tanker reaches the country next Monday. It added that providing more fuel to the Kalnitesa power plant before that would create a shortage of diesel. The Energy Ministry said attempts are being made to provide at least 1,000 metric tons of diesel to the West Coast power plant.
But I feel that this is a theatric. The CEB engineers know the months in which hydropower can be generated. Every week the Energy Minister conducts a stock review meeting. During this meeting, the CPC and even the private sector discusses the requirement for diesel and furnace oil in the future. They know how much fuel is required. I feel it's not fair to say that they will have to import fuel in a hurry and that they can only provide fuel for a day or a week. They must tell the truth to the people. I was criticized for stating that there was a hidden force behind the gas crisis. What we feel is that there is a similar situation in terms of power as well. Power plants are experiencing breakdowns and are being closed multiple times. They don't allow the president to implement his policy. Don't the people sense something suspicious regarding this? The president will wipe out this situation.
The central bank governor and the finance minister are expressing contradictory views on whether Sri Lanka would approach the IMF for assistance.
Finance Minister Basil Rajapaksa yesterday said Sri Lanka had sought technical support from the International Monetary Fund and that a mission is likely to arrive in the country. We have written to them and sought specialist advice from them. We also need funds. Japan has agreed to give us money. So one of these days they will come and give us advice about things that we don't know. Whether we take the advice or not is something that I can't decide alone. However, Central Bank Governor Ajit Cabral played down these comments in a tweet. He said the advice is being sought routinely to build the Finance Ministry's new macrofiscal unit and nothing else. While the Finance Minister and Central Bank Governor are making contrasting statements, Pakistan has decided to provide Sri Lanka a $200 million loan to purchase rice and cement. The loan is to be provided after Pakistan receives a $1 billion loan from the IMF. The IMF is planning to approve the loan for Pakistan after they had agreed to cut down on unnecessary government expenditure, among several other matters.
When the finance minister claims that we are heading in this direction, the central bank governor Cabral says something completely opposite to that. What sort of nonsense is this? Yesterday, Minister Basil Rajapaksa, addressing a media briefing, said that he had requested the support of the IMF through a letter to restructure our debt payments. He also said that an IMF team will come to our country for this purpose. Now today, Cabral, who is the governor of the central bank, says that no such letter was sent. But now I have the letter with me. This letter invites the IMF to launch a training program. The letter states that the Finance Ministry is organizing a macro-fiscal affairs training program and that the ministry has asked whether they can send a team for this training program. This program is an extended version of the South Asia training program. This was followed by the IMF saying that the Japanese government has said to make payments for the lecturers and the lecturers will then carry out the training program. No one can understand what these two are saying. When one is showing the left direction, the other is showing the right.
ඒ ට්‍රේනින් ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එකේ ලෙක්චරර්ස්ලාට සල්ලි ගවන්න ඒගොල්ලෝ ඒකට ඇවිල්ලා ට්‍රේනින් ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එක කරයි කියලා මොනවා කියනවද කියලා කිසි කෙනෙක් දන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ කියන්නේ දකුණට අන්ත කරන වමට. ඒ කියන්නේ යනවා එක්කෙනෙක් යන්නේ නැහැ.
The central bank governor is making various comments on the economy that is in dire straits. The finance minister is expressing different sentiments. He makes remarks that are not expressed by any other finance minister overseas. Yesterday he said that they have sought technical expertise from the International Monetary Fund. But central bank governor Cabral later said they won't be going to the IMF. What do they mean by not going to the IMF? This would mean that they don't want to reschedule the debts that the country owes. If they don't have the revenue to repay the debt, how are they going to find money? We wish to ask whether he is encouraging money laundering.
Sri Lanka is to celebrate its 74th Independence Day tomorrow. Newsfirst Naviksha Gunasekara visited the Independence Square in Colombo, where the rehearsals were held today.
The 74th Independence Day celebrations will take place at the Independence Square tomorrow, and as you can see behind me, already the preparations are currently underway, and the Tri-Forces are here setting up for the grand event tomorrow. And what you can see next to me is the special area where the invitees will be seated for the ceremony, and tomorrow the ceremony will start at 8 a.m. under the patronage of President Colombo Rajapaksa, and the ceremony will be made colorful by various cultural items and even the 41 gun parade and the Tri-Force shows that will be set up tomorrow. A special traffic plan will also be implemented tomorrow, as the roads of this area will be completely closed. So if you are heading towards Colombo, make sure you travel on the alternative roads. For the News First team, I'm Naviksha Gunasekara reporting to you from Independence Square.
Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, is to boycott tomorrow's Independence Day celebrations. The Cardinal conducts a special service on Independence Day. The special service is mostly held at the All Saints Church in Boralla. As a result of the measures that have been taken to harass innocent people and considering the discovery of the hand grenade at this church, the Cardinal has decided to refrain from conducting the special service. He has also decided to boycott the Independence Day celebrations.
දෙවැනි කාරණේ තමයි ඒ වගේම උන්වහන්සේ තීරණය කරලා තියෙනවා නිදහස් රාජ්‍ය උත්සවයට උන්වහන්සේ සහභාගී වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
A worker had been arrested over the discovery of a hand grenade at the All Saints Church in Boralla recently. Reverend Father Cyril Gamini Fernando also commented on this during today's media briefing.
The Attorney General's representative has told the court that more investigations should be conducted. As citizens, when we look at the investigations that have taken place and also the CCTV footage, we can see that the person named Munindran is not linked to this. They arrested a doctor after that. He had made certain statements. The police said he had confessed that he was involved in placing the bomb at the church. Against such a backdrop, we have questions as to why they are continuing to detain the innocent sacristian named Munindran.
දර්ශන බලද්දී අපිට වැටහෙන දෙයක් තමයි පැහැදිලිව මේ මුනින්ද්‍රන් කියන පුද්ගලයා මේකට සම්බන්ධතාවයක් නැහැ කියලා.
Questions were raised regarding the investigations on the April 21st attacks.
අපි අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ජාත්‍යන්තරයට යනවා. විදේශී
We will definitely take this to the international community. We have begun discussing this with the government of foreign nations. We have also informed the Vatican about this, but we will take more measures in the future. We tried our best to seek domestic support in conducting investigations over the last 3 years. The Pope has written to the Cardinal directly about this, asking what can be done from his end. We will take the necessary steps regarding that.
උන්වහන්සේට කියන්නේ කියලා උන්වහන්සේට මොනවද හේනම් කරන්න පුළුවන් දෙයක්. ඉතින් අපි ඒක දැනුම් දෙන්න ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ගන්නවා.
State Minister Arundhika Fernando resigned from his post today after his son was arrested for allegedly breaking into the Ragama Medical Faculty's dormitory premises and attacking students. 7 people, including the State Minister's son, were remanded until the 7th of February after they were produced before the Vatala Magistrates Court. Speaking to the media, Arundhika Fernando said he will step aside from his duties, allowing an independent investigation to be conducted into the incident.
Police said State Minister Arundhika Fernando's son was arrested when he surrendered himself to the Ragama police through an attorney last night. A luxury vehicle that is said to have been used to transport the attackers has been taken into police custody, while a total of 7 people have been arrested thus far. A scuffle ensued in the early hours of Tuesday at the male dormitory premises of the Ragama Medical Faculty's 4th-year students. According to the police, the brawl had broken out between 3rd-year and 4th-year students of the faculty. The 4th-year students alleged that a group of outsiders who arrived in a vehicle assigned to the Coconut Development Board arrived at the location and attacked them. They had managed to hold the vehicle and its driver in their custody. The chairman of the Coconut Development Board said the driver in question has been suspended. State Minister Arundhika Fernando explained the reasoning reasoning behind his decision to step down from his state ministerial position to the media today. I met with the president this morning. I told him I will step aside from my duties until probes into this incident end, because some people might feel that I could influence the investigations through these positions. I will resign from my duties today. If I am a wrongdoer, I will not accept this ministry again. But if I am not connected to this, I will be able to take up this post once again and work for the country. Arundhika Fernando was serving as the State Minister of Coconut, Fishtail Palm, Palmyra and Rubber Product Promotion and Allied Industrial Production and Export Diversification. Meanwhile, 3 fourth-year students of the Ragamag Medical Faculty were arrested opposite the Wattala Magistrates Court this afternoon. Police spokesperson SSP Nihal Thalduwa said the arrests were made following a complaint made by the third-year student who is currently receiving treatment at the Negombo Hospital while in remand custody. The students were produced before the Wattala Magistrates Court this evening following their arrest. They were later released on 2,000 rupee cash bails and surety bails worth 500,000 rupees each.
The government launched a program to carry out 100,000 projects aimed at development in rural areas. The project, costing 42 billion rupees, is launched by Finance Minister Basil Rajapaksa today.
The government kicked off a program today with the aim of carrying out 100,000 rural development projects. The program covers 336 divisional secretariats and 14,021 Gram and Ladai divisions. The program began at the auspicious time of 8:52 a.m. at the Finance Ministry.
We hope to complete this in a few months and meet our national goals. We cannot implement all proposals as it's submitted by villagers due to the monetary regulations in effect. We are at a very difficult time. While the people of the country experience these difficulties, the Finance Ministry feels this burden the most. We hope that we would be able to achieve the expected economic development this year in the sectors that had collapsed amidst the pandemic, as we have somehow succeeded in conducting the vaccination drive successfully under the leadership of the President and the Prime Minister. Under this program, we will implement major infrastructure, road, irrigation and water supply projects, as well as large-scale development projects relating to renewable energy, housing and urban development. We also hope to implement and establish businesses at village levels.
The government has planned to implement about 5 or 6 projects in every Gramaniladari division. A foundation stone for the construction of a building worth 15 million rupees was laid at the Moolagandhakuti Viharaya today. This was in line with the program launched this morning. State Minister Nimal Lanza was present. Trade Minister Bandala Gunawardena launched a project to refurbish a wall along 5th lane in Mattegoda at a cost of 1.2 million rupees. A digital television was also handed over to the Siri Parakum Vidyalaya in Ubesekarapura in line with this project. Minister Rohit Abe Gunawardena launched a project today to refurbish the Modira Canal in Dummala. Several projects were carried out in this manner across the island.
Supporting rural education means building a nation's future. And together with the people of Sri Lanka, Gammadda is leading from the front. Development of preschools in Ramba Ava and Isin Basagama, both in rural Anuradhapura. A preschool developed in Attan Kadavala in the North Central Province. Clean drinking water for the children of the Maligattin school in Valimata, Bandarvela. A library for the youngsters at the Kumbuk Oya Rural School between rural Polonnaruwa and Matale. Clean water for school children in Hambegamuwa, Munragala. Classrooms for students at the primary school in Ralapanava, Anuradhapura. The complete development of the Sindati Mata School in Kalpitiya, Puttalam. These are a few examples of Gammadda's action and impact. Thanks to you, the people. Gammadda. By the people. For the people.
Various views are being expressed across the political spectrum on the possibility of conducting elections. Now, this has come under severe criticism from opposition parties.
Finance Minister Basil Rajapaksa yesterday said that the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna is ready to face the provincial council election at any time.
We have a system at present. That is the only election that we can conduct at the earliest. We can't conduct a presidential election. The constitution has prevented that from being held until the tenure is over. The parliamentary elections also can't be held until 2.5 years. The previous government formulated laws in a way that the provincial council elections can't be held. We need to try and amend that. That is the only election that we can go for at the moment. Our party follows the policy of Mahinda. He is our exemplary leader. He always encourages to conduct elections. I follow that as well. That's why I would like to go for the election. We are ready to go for the election even in a year. We will begin our main rallies from Anuradhapura on the 9th. We hope to conduct rallies in all provinces. We have decided the time and venue for the rallies in 5 provinces. We will conduct it in other provinces as well.
Former President Maithripala Sirisena recently revealed that the government is preparing for a constitutional ploy. He had said that this is being done by possibly targeting the parliamentary elections. The Janata Vimukti Peramuna says the government is aiming to conduct the parliamentary election.
We are hearing from a few sources that they are planning to dissolve the government in a year and hold an election. If they complete their term and go for an election, the situation would be worse. Therefore, they are trying to retain the president's power and to conduct parliamentary elections at the earliest. They believe they can win the elections that way. Through their actions, the government has indicated that they have distanced themselves from the people. That is why they are preparing for an election now. There are 2 ways to dissolve the parliament. The president cannot do it now, but they can dissolve parliament. But this will happen after we carry out a massive struggle. Then even if you take that opportunity, you can not only have a public opinion. At present, there is a public opinion that the current situation is useless. So there is a public opinion that the government needs to change and that it has to be supported by the people's power. We all have a responsibility to form a people's power so that this government can be replaced with the progressive government.
ප්‍රගතිශීලී ජනතාවාදී ආණ්ඩුවක් හදාගන්න ඕන කියලා හිතන අපි හැමෝටම තියෙන වගකීමක් ජන බලයක් හදන්න.
Finance Secretary S.R. Artigala has said Sri Lanka needs clean professionals.
The country needs professionals who not only capable and competent, but also professionals that upholds the ethics that defines a professional. Honesty and integrity are key in this case. I do not think that can be taught by others. You must teach yourself to be honest and uphold integrity.
The Finance Secretary made these remarks at the convocation of the Sri Lanka Institute of Taxation yesterday.
Colombo Mayor Sananayaka has sent a letter of demand to Pushpika De Silva, who won the Mrs. Sri Lanka title last year. More on this story after this short commercial break. Stay with News First. We will be right back.
News First. Main sponsor.
Sun all-purpose disinfectant spray.
Tech Bus. The first phase of the Tech Bus initiative, successfully held at St. Andrews College in Puttalam.
ස්ලිප් තායතනයත් එක්ක බොහොම සාර්ථක වැඩසටහනක් කරා. සමාජ මාධ්‍ය ජාල ගොඩක් පාවිච්චි කරනවා. කොහොමද ආරක්ෂිතව අපේ වැඩ කරගන්නේ කියලා ලොකු දැනුමක් හම්බුණා. අපේ අයට ලොකු දැනුමක් ලැබුණා කියලා මම හිතනවා. ඇත්තටම බෙහෙවින්ම ස්තුතියි.
මේ මෙහෙවර සාර්ථක වේවා කියලා ඊට සිතින් ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා.
Tech Bus.
Organised by Slit Institute.
Tech Bus.
Main sponsor.
Slit Knowledge University. Challenging convention and redefining education.
Welcome back. You're with News First. Colombo Mayor Senanayake has demanded 500 million rupees in damages from Pushpika De Silva, who won the Mrs. Sri Lanka title last year.
Colombo Mayor Senanayake has sent a letter of demand through her lawyers to Pushpika De Silva, who won the Mrs. Sri Lanka title last year. The local pageant winner, in a recent interview, has said she could have won the Mrs. World title if the mayor had not attended the pageant held last month. The mayor's lawyers said those remarks are false accusations and implies that she was instrumental in changing the final results at the contest. The mayor had demanded Pushpika De Silva to pay 500 million rupees in damages, issue a public apology and ensure that such statements are not repeated.
Fisheries Minister Douglas Devananda expressed his anger during a protest by fishermen opposite the Jaffna District Secretariat.
இந்திய தரப்புல 7 பேர் ஏற்கனவே போன வருஷம் செத்தவர். அவைகள் உயிர் இல்லையா? அவைகளும் உயிர்தான். அதாவது ஒரு கிழமை 2 கிழமைக்கு பாப்போம். அப்படி அதை மீறி வந்தால் நான் வெளிப்படையா சொல்லுவேன்.
A tense situation arose when fishermen staged a protest opposing the illegal entry of Indian fishermen into the sea of Sri Lanka. The protesters staged the demonstration by blocking the roads leading to the district secretariat and the northern governor's office. Fisheries Minister Douglas Devananda visited the site of the protest today. On one hand, we are taking diplomatic steps. If Indian fishermen enter Sri Lankan waters illegally, we will seize their boats and hand them over to the local fishermen. We have seized 3 boats. We will hand them over to the fishermen associations. I will submit a proposal to the cabinet on Monday to provide relief to those affected due to Indian fishermen.
நீங்கள் எங்கட மக்களுக்கு பாதுகாப்பு தர முடியவில்லை சொன்னால் நீங்கள் மக்களின் கையில் விடுங்க. நாங்கள் அந்த இந்திய நிறுவனங்களை எங்களை எல்லைக்குள்ள வராமல் செய்கிறோம். நீங்கள் செய்யல மன்னத பாதுகாப்படுத்த செய்யுங்க. நீங்கள் இருக்கிறீங்க பாதுகாப்படுத்த உங்களை கேட்டேன்.
The minister had then left the area. A tense situation arose when MP Chamara Sampath Disanayake attended an event to declare open a state building in Passara. The issue had arisen over the ownership of the land on which the building was constructed. I am not acquiring this land. These are all state-owned lands. I told not to obtain this land even though it belongs to the government. MP Sivanesan is stirring this up. There is no issue if the landowner had constructed it. MP Chamara Sampath had left the area amidst objection by residents. Meanwhile, a local politician had given up attempts to construct a building in Bandarawala due to a brawl that erupted at that time. The brawl had broken out as the plantation company that owns the land had not granted permission for the construction. Planters in Nelvawatta staged a strike in support of that.
9 Iranians were arrested for trafficking narcotics in international waters were brought to Colombo today.
In a special operation carried out by the Navy in coordination with police and intelligence agencies, another drug-carrying foreign vessel was intercepted in international waters south of Sri Lanka on the 26th of January. This foreign multi-day fishing trawler, remaining on high seas with a view to transfer the consignment to a local fishing vessel, had jettisoned about 200 kilograms of heroin into the sea when it was approached by the Navy. During further search of the vessel, the Navy managed to recover about 250 grams of heroin and a satellite phone. Accordingly, the Navy had nabbed 9 foreign suspects aboard in connection to this racket. The apprehended suspects, along with the foreign vessel, were brought to the port of Colombo for further investigations.
On to one of our headline-making stories. A massive fire broke out at a thinner manufacturing plant in Hangwala today. The Kotte Fire Brigade said 5 fire trucks were deployed to douse the fire. The Colombo Municipal Council had also dispatched some fire trucks. The police said no injuries have been reported so far. Investigations are being carried out to determine the cause of the fire. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa distributed agricultural machinery worth 250 million rupees to 47 agrarian service centres in 6 provinces today. The equipment was distributed to encourage farmers to engage in green agriculture and to maximise productivity. This included 7 types of machinery, including harvesting machines, weeding machines, harvesters, plant nursery machines and tractors. The opposition leader Sajith Premadasa says that he is committed to raising a generation equipped with modern technological knowledge.
සැබවින්ම තොරතුරු තාක්ෂණ විප්ලවයක් හරහා ඩිජිටල් ආර්ථික ප්‍රවර්ධනය හරහා අපේ රට ගොඩ
Our country needs a leader who rebuilds this nation through digital economic developments. I am ready to be that leader. Many of our long-term programs, such as the Sakwala program and the Husma program, which are carried out with a clear vision, are coming under severe criticism by many factions. They say Sajith Premadasa only knows to distribute goods. Before you level such criticism, answer this question. There are 550 students in this school and there are only 2 computers. How can 550 students learn and create an impact in the technology industry using just 2 computers? They are deceiving the people of this country. But I know that since people are more aware of this, they are not ready to be fooled once again. The other factions are carrying out propaganda through media networks to deceive the people. While they are doing that, we are helping our people through these programs, and I am proud of it.
රටේ ජනතාව ආපහු එන්දවීමකට සූදානම් නැහැ කියලා. ඒ ඇත්තෝ ටික මාධ්‍ය හරහා තමුන්නාන්සලා අන්දවන ව්‍යාපෘතිවල නිරත වෙනකොට මම ආඩම්බර වෙනවා. සක්වල වැඩසටහන තුලින් හුස්ම වැඩසටහන රටට අගයක් එකතු කරන්නට මම කටයුතු කරනවා.
The opposition leader made these remarks after donating smart digital boards and computers to the Vidyadana College in Kottawa. The donations were made under the 14th phase of the Sakwala program.
This is the keyboard, this is mouse, and this is the CPU.
The European Union is planning to fund projects in Indo-Pacific countries like Sri Lanka. They said this would be done with the support of India to counter China's growing influence in the region.
The European Union says it will introduce a transparent program to fund projects in Indo-Pacific countries like Sri Lanka. France has assumed the presidency of the European Union last month. French ambassador to India, Emmanuel Lenoir, had said it's a problem that China is using to fund projects in certain countries in the region. He had cited Sri Lanka as an example. The ambassador had noted that the program may be unveiled at the EU's Indo-Pacific Forum on the 22nd of this month. France has about 8,000 troops in the Indo-Pacific as it owns a cluster of islands in the Indian Ocean.
Sri Lanka's tourist arrivals for January have jumped by more than 100% compared to the same month last year.
Sri Lanka has recorded 82,327 tourist arrivals for January this year. It's a sharp increase from 1,682 tourist arrivals in January last year. Official figures indicate that most tourists were from Russia, with the figure standing at 13,478. India came in next with 11,751 arrivals. The Tourism Development Authority expects 1.1 million tourists to visit the country this year. Maldives, one of the most prominent tourist hotspots in the Indian Ocean, had recorded more than 122,000 tourist arrivals last month.
Moving on to news overseas, US President Joe Biden is to send extra troops to Europe this week amid continuing fears of a Russian invasion of Ukraine.
The US is to send some 2,000 troops to Poland and Germany. A further 1,000 troops already in Germany will go to Romania. Moscow denies planning to invade but has deployed an estimated 100,000 troops near Ukraine's borders. It called the US deployment destructive. Their deployment is in addition to the 8,500 troops the Pentagon put on alert last month to be ready to deploy to Europe if needed. However, Pentagon spokesman John Kirby has said the US still believes that Russia has not decided to further invade Ukraine.
India's finance minister has said the country will launch a digital version of the rupee as early as this year.
In her annual budget speech, India's finance minister Nirmala Sitharaman outlined plans for a 30% tax on income from digital assets. India is the latest major economy to announce an official virtual currency as China trials the digital yuan. The finance minister had said digital currency will also lead to a more efficient and cheaper currency management system. The announcement that India's central bank would introduce a digital currency comes against the backdrop of the country's demonetization policy.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. For the News First team, I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka, together with our interpreter this evening, Brian De Cruz. Good night.